Hey guys, Professor O'Kane here. Now, if nerding out on guitar minutiae kind of makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside, well then you're at the right place, because today that's exactly what we're going to do. So does economy picking even work? Yeah, I'd say it works. In all seriousness, there is a huge problem with economy picking. And what I want to do with this video is I want to address it, because I think that there are a lot of people who really want to make that endeavor and try economy picking. Now, in my travels, I've found a lot of people who have taken the dive into it and pretty much quickly got out of the pool. Or, they stayed with it for a few years and then they just said, I don't really like it for one reason or another. Like, some people think it just sounds too even all the time. Like all the notes are at the same volume, or you can't play in time with it. Well, let's look at that last bit. So playing in time, that's an important thing, wouldn't you say? And that is an issue with economy picking, especially when you're not shredding and you're not playing at a turtle's pace. It's that in-between place that the picking, it's hard to play in time, especially if you're coming from having started with another picking system. If you're a hybrid picker or an alternate picker, and then you've decided to make the switch. Well, with these few exercises that I'm going to show you, you can start to sort out the problem that economy picking has. Sure, that indicates that this is a different segment, which is basically the part where I ask you to please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button, and see if I have a Patreon or a tip jar. It would really help sustain this channel. I really do appreciate you tuning into this channel, and back to the content. Oh, okay, that didn't work well. I'm going to be using my jazz guitar for this. That puppy over there. I chose that one because it's kind of hard to play because the strings are much thicker, and I want to encourage you to do things that are going to really expose what it is you're doing. So what I mean is turn all the reverb off. Turning all the reverb off and having a little bit of overdrive is even more painful. But if you have a big box guitar like that, you can just turn all the reverb up, and having the big heavy strings plus no reverb, that's going to kick your butt. So let's get right to it. The first thing I'm going to show you is the pattern that I'm using for my B major scale. So for those of you new to economy picking, this is what it looks like. So basically, whenever the pick is crossing a string, all it does is it picks in the same direction. The most important thing you need to do, and this is, I'm just taking it right from you, Rick Graham, and that is making sure on the last pick that your pick slaps to the next string, or snaps to the next string, I believe is what he says. So that's really imperative. So you notice that sometimes I'm not doing it, but that's because I'm not going to the next string. So if I'm going now to the next string, I will just go and touch the next string right afterwards, and then back down. So you'll notice that I have just a slight bit of reverb on because, you know, just for the sake of doing this. But again, when you're doing it, turn the reverb off, all right? It's going to be painful. That's life. Okay, so herein lies one of the problems of economy picking, and it's usually what most people encounter right in the beginning, and that is doing this. So why does that happen? Well, it happens for, I think, 3 reasons. One is you have gravity when you're heading downwards or ascending, but let's just call it down because that's the direction you're headed in. Or the upwards one, you've been doing this your whole life, so it's easy to kind of like snap your pick upwards like that. And what is reinforcing that? That is you are loaded up on the last note on that string before you snap down. So it's very easy in the beginning to snap down and maybe even go past the string that you're trying to land on and rest the pick on. That's normal. So you're going to find that there's a bit of lightening up that you have to do. Okay, so with alternate picking, it's a done deal. You're going to either be playing a down pick on every one of those down beats or an up pick depending upon which one you start. So let's get it out of there. With economy picking, it's very different because usually you're going to be playing a down or an up stroke. So you have to be good at both, and it has to feel natural when actually it doesn't feel natural in the beginning. So this is what you need to do. You need to basically mark out where those notes are, and that's where you're going to accent. Well, thanks to Rick, we have that rule that the pick snaps down to the next string. Yeah, big ups to you, Rick, if you're watching this and if you haven't fallen asleep yet. You do have to snap down to the next string, but you might be in the middle of the 3 notes per string and having to accent. That means that you have to be cognizant not to snap down to the next string and then have to snap down to the next string for the next note. So here's exactly what I mean. Right here is my first accented note of the next beat. Okay, so 1 E and 2. Now, what we're so used to doing is going and snapping to the string that's above it. So you need to mark this out. There's my snap down, there's my accent, but my pick stays close to the string. So 1 E and 2 E and 3. Now that worked out perfect because I could just accent this note and snap right down to the 3rd string. So here's what it looks like. I'm going to do the whole scale now with those downbeats accented. And then downwards. With the click. This is actually a big deal, folks, because it is a accenting game changer, which is usually what economy picking is void of. And it makes it so much more useful, and you have a better hold on the time. And granted, we're only playing a scale, but you know, we need to keep it simple, right? Now we're going to accent the ands. So 1 E and 2. And as you can imagine, now we can accent the us. 1 E and. So ultimately you want to do all the partials in 16th notes and in triplets, and it's really, really challenging. So now I'm going to just kind of free form improvise with just the major scale, and it's just going to be up and down the scale or taking little breaks. The idea is to make it very simple and to do accents anywhere. So I'm right here at about 95 BPM, and here we go. So here's the next problem, and it is a doozy. Okay, it is string crossing, multiple string crossings. Now, what is the problem with that? Well, it's certainly easy to go like, or in the case of our scale here. So that's fine. You have, again, you have gravity on your side, and you can do it super fast. It doesn't require much skill. You could teach a beginner to just do this motion. It's loaded also. That is where we start to get into the problem. Now, the reason why I chose my jazz guitar, by the way, I think I said it already, is because it's got big, thick strings and it's making me work. And it's making me pay attention to what I'm doing more so than just slinky strings where I can get away with stuff. So, if you look at this, if you proceed it by a scale, there is two different kind of feels happening with the right hand. There's this alternate feel and there's the snap to the next string. So you can look at it as either, you know, that you have these three notes here, or that it is, you know, previously snapped and you have two notes. Either way, you have a lot of time management to be, you know, computing. And it is where I really feel that a lot of economy pickers fall. Myself as well. Okay, so what I'm talking about is if you have this, it's really difficult to tell if that was really locked in. It was kind of more floaty. So how do you cure that? You cure it in the same way. And are all the notes connecting? So with economy picking, we have this problem, another problem, that what ends up happening is we get short, long, short, long, short, long, and so forth. So we get a scale or any kind of line that sounds like this kind of weird accenting thing, and you want to avoid that. So what I'll do, I'll try and hold this note just a little bit longer than I have to. And of course, at the same time, I'm having to deal with my muting, which has always been a weak point of mine. And the next problem is crossing the strings with little arpeggios. So it's one thing to just make these small, you know, economy string transitions. It's another thing to do this. So, or even if you were just doing like a short arpeggio right here. It's really a different thing for your right hand. Let me show you the right hand. Now, you want to make sure that this part, this little arpeggio, is exactly the same tempo as the other scale. So let's do it with the click. Now, I want to try and do it with the accents. So that sounds and feels pretty decent. So I'll try a little bit higher. Now I didn't like that because I heard a ghost note. So, okay, that one was acceptable. Is there anything wrong with a ghost note? Of course there isn't, because I'm trying to gain control of my right hand. And that is what I really feel and can audibly hear that is wrong with economy players. That's why economy players tend to not strictly stick with that technique. Now, am I saying that you should be orthodox and really stick to economy picking? That was a little bit of a Freudian slip. I'm not saying that you should be orthodox, but I'm saying that in the practice of it, you should be. Because otherwise, how are you going to get any one particular thing down, right? So practice that. See what happens. And I'm telling you, you are going to be able to control your pick a lot better. So guys, I'm really confident that if you use this sort of approach, this concept of accenting and playing different partials of the beat, that you're going to start really grooving. You're going to be able to play the pocket better, and it's going to sound better. And I made a lot to do about this one kind of particular picking technique, and really it's not about that. That is the way that you're getting to the actual music that you want to play, and it's the method to the madness, if you want to call it that. Now, I didn't even insert any legato into what I was doing, so it was really focusing on the minutia. That's how you're going to get better. That's how you're going to get to the level beyond the next level where all the other teachers say they're going to leave you off at. So if you want to pursue this further, by all means hit me up, and please subscribe, please hit the notification bell, and I was going to say the mummification bell. Yeah, I'll see you guys later.